Hi there, Elevated Planet community. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet with Chris Stiles of 365 Pin Code. Hi there, Chris. How are you?
Hello, John. Excellent. Lovely to be back.
As ever, I'm always delighted to have you on our YouTube channel because I learn so much through these, and it's always entertaining but also quite hard hitting at times as well, Chris. And what have you got lined up for us today?
Well, John, thanks for that. And yeah, last time we chatted about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and you'll remember unpacking their intelligent mathematical blueprints and revealing the numerical construct of their relationship and the various lessons that they both needed to learn, and that their meeting and their parting was not random. It was actually very clearly represented in the numbers. So, John, as always, on behalf of Suzanne and I and 365 Pin Code, we're very grateful for the opportunity to share with you and with your audience some of the research that we're doing. And tonight, we're actually really going to go straight into some very, very thorny topics. We're going to cover off Donald Trump and the burning question, will he be the next president of the United States? This is something that I've investigated in great detail, and I am going to give you an answer. We will also go into America and the various countries that are role players right now in the war that is raging in the Ukraine. And we're going to then, using number synchronicity, begin to paint what I believe is a pretty intelligent construct of the future that we are looking at between now, which is 2022, and 2026 to 2027. So hopefully, we're going to deliver some very well-researched and well-argued and logical views to your audience tonight, and then also get them thinking critically about the years that are coming, because we are definitely heading into extraordinarily dark times, John. I wish that I could actually portray it in a different way, but right now that is the only way to truly convey the message, is that we are heading into exceptionally difficult and challenging times, which are necessary because after the darkness follows the light.
Right. Yes. And we think about last time, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, and that was fascinating because to actually show how they matched against each other as being a life path which was always destined to cross, to learn lessons from each other, and ultimately, what I found really fascinating about that is, at the end of it, they have, when they look at it, when they read through their mathematical blueprint, they have every reason to turn to each other and be grateful to each other for the life lessons they've each learned. Whereas, obviously, what we see when we look at the media and all the coverage that followed it, gratitude to each other would be something that would be pretty hard to come by. Nevertheless, it gives you a fresh pair of eyes to look through the events and to understand. And the other thing is, of course, then that is telling us that this mathematical blueprint exists for all of us, and that our life paths are always crossing for a reason, because they're supposed to, because there are life lessons to learn, to move forward, to learn your lessons and move forward, or fail to learn your lessons and repeat the lessons in a different way in the future. And this really boggles my mind, because this comes back to something that you told me very early on, Chris. Everything in the universe and the multiverse is made up of numbers. Everything comes back to numbers. But that is what also gives you the ability to look at the influences now and in the future to help to prepare us for what's ahead of us, correct?
Absolutely, John. And what I think is really going to blow your mind, and hopefully the minds of your viewers tonight, is the fact that when I'm dealing with Donald Trump and discussing the issue around Donald Trump and the question, will he be the next president of the United States? I've actually done so much research that I've extrapolated into another dimension. So where I did Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, that was a one-on-one. It was just, it was a relationship between them. The information that I'm going to be sharing with you shortly, obviously in slide format with all the maths and the numbers up there for you to be able to explain. And it's lovely to have you there working with me, because you know how to work with me. And thank you, John. Is I'm actually going to show you the construct of the Trump family. Right. And I'm going to show you how there's no doubt that we need to completely open up our minds and our consciousness now to the proof that we are dealing with soul groups, your family, etc., etc. This is not just an arbitrary arrangement. These are souls that have been on journeys and continue to go on journeys, and you will just be blown away tonight when you see the mathematical construct of the number of the members of the Trump family around Donald Trump, and you suddenly realize, hold on a moment, it doesn't take more than one active brain cell to realize that there is something going on here. So this is the first time, and again, thank you to you and your channel, that I'm taking this research into the public domain around the fact that we are not only does my mathematical blueprint exist, but when you start to study integrated mathematical blueprints, like I'm going to reveal to you in the Trump family, there's no doubt about it whatsoever that this is now proving that there are soul groups, and that a family and the construct of a family is a highly, highly organized event. It's not just, random, you and my mom, you're my dad, you're my brother, etc. Forget it. It is so much more. And I again, what this is just revealing to me, John, is how little we know.
Yes.
How honestly, how dumb we are, and how ill-informed we are as to actually the grand construct of this universe that we are, this numerical mathematical soup that we are engaging with on a daily basis. It just brings us back to, once again, why have we been kept so unenlightened? And this is something that really, I know I say it in every interview I have with you, and I sound like I'm always on my soapbox, but how is it, John, that my work is now bringing this to the fore in 2022? Are you honestly telling me that this has never been discovered before? Or has it always been known, yet it has been suppressed because it's a brilliant thing to keep people suppressed and oppressed, because that's the way that you control them? And my goodness me, haven't the churches and organized religion done that, and a brilliant job at that? But anyway, look, I'm repeating myself now, but this is going to be a real mind-blowing session. And I know that by the time we finished with just the Trump family and unpacking the question, will Donald Trump be the next president of the United States come the 2024 election in November? Then I move on to the various years and the way I see countries interacting with each other, and how I see organizations like the United Nations and the European Union, and how and what numbers resonate with them, and how this brings years into play. I think we are really, really on the verge of probably one of the most terrifying yet exciting times in the history of humanity.
Wow, that's huge. I'm really interested to work out. I mean, it's quite daunting, I think, in many ways, when you start to see how these things are starting to unfold. But I hear it from so many quarters that we are in for a change that it will change humanity. It will change mankind as we, the way we've come to know life as we have. I don't pretend to know how.
Well, John, remember, we are heading towards 2027. Now, 2027 is going to be a landmark year in the history of humanity, because it brings the twos of the millennium that we're in into play. It brings the 7, which is all about, if you will, understanding and connecting the dots and cosmic consciousness. And it brings the master number 11 into play, which is all about illumination, enlightenment, teaching. And remember, whenever the light shines, it lights up the darkness, and suddenly you begin to understand that. So the thing is, the way my mind is working, that's the role of 2027. 2027 is when suddenly everybody's going to truly understand the darkness for what it was. But right. The thing is, there's a whole if you will, load of darkness that's got to play itself out before 2027. And this is what we are entering right now, this very, very year in 2022. Right. This is when everything's getting extraordinarily real. Heading towards what I believe is the grand finale in 2026, with 2027 then being, oh my word, what happened? Everybody's searching frantically, looking for new truths, etc., etc., etc. And then come 2028, which introduces the number 3 energy again. It's almost like that is, if you will, when everything starts to take off again. But in order to understand the darkness, which will happen in 2027, when the light really gets switched on, we have to go through this dark time now. And that's why I say we are about to go through some of the darkest times, I believe, in the history of humanity. And, John, to that effect, let's just take what has taken place today. In America, the Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS, has just overturned Roe and Wade, rather. Now, this is absolutely enormous, because this is a landmark event in the history of the United States. Roe and Wade was always considered to be one of these rulings that suddenly gave women the right to have autonomy over their body, because it centers around the matter of abortion. Yeah. Now look at what's happened today. Today, the Supreme Court of the United States have overturned this. Now, is it a random event? Well, I'm going to show to you just now that the United States of America resonates with number 3, which introduces shadow 6. Okay, right. 2022 is a number 6 universal year. So in other words, and it's all about emotions, etc., massive emotional upheaval. So look how the shadow 6 of the name United States of America resonates or synchronizes perfectly with what has happened today being the 24th, which is the number 6, 2 and 4, 6 of June, the 6th month of the year, in the year 2022, 6. 6, 6, 6. Now, you people can read into that whatever they want, but nothing happens randomly. So today was a day where the universal energy was all about family, relationships, responsibility, matters of the heart, community. And look at what has happened. Look at what has happened in terms of Roe versus Wade. It has ripped America apart. The media is just full of grief. Joe Biden, everybody, saying that this is the worst decision. You go and have a look at Twitter and see what Barack Obama has put out there, lambasting this decision of the Supreme Court of the United States, saying that the only reason that this has happened is because of the way Donald Trump played it in terms of getting certain judges onto SCOTUS, et cetera, in order to be in a very powerful position to have this influence. So nothing that is happening, John, is random. And the thing is, I see these, I just see these cosmic connections and these number patterns all over the place. And that's why I'm not in the slightest bit surprised that this decision, which has really turned America on its head and literally got Americans to the point where now America is starting to really eat itself alive from the inside, should happen on a day which has got 3 6s in it, which coincides perfectly with the number 6 vibration of 2022.
Yes. That is amazing.
So I think, John, maybe let's get into the question of Donald Trump and let's really dig into it,
right?
And see what comes up. And you, as we're going along, you fire any questions you'd like.
I will. There we go.
That's fantastic, right? Thank you, John. So, John, what I do, as you well know, is I map using numerical notation, the life path of a given individual from birth through to the age of 100. I just use that as the timeline. And then within the mathematical notation or the data strings that exist for each person year on year lies incredible information richness, which, because of the vast amount of work that I've done on this and research, I'm able to understand and interpret, and therefore, hopefully start to bring incredibly interesting lines of thinking into the public domain. Now, John, you will recall that Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton to become the 45th president, or POTUS, of the United States in 2016. And that was a very unexpected win, because everybody thought that Hillary Clinton was going to take it.
Right.
Now, if you look at 2016 and you ignore the date and you ignore the age that Trump was, and you look at the rest from 11 across to the arrow on the right, you'll see that the line of code for Donald Trump in 2017 is identical again in 2025.
Right.
That's why I've highlighted both of them. So there it is, 11, and then the 19 and the 1 and the 16 and the 7, and then again the 16 and the 7 and the 19 and the 1 and the 11 and the 2. Now, the thing is, to someone who doesn't understand how I develop these mathematical constructs, that might seem like gibberish, but to me, that is gold. This is exactly the type of strategic human futurology that reveals to you that what happened in 2016 is going to happen again in 2025.
Right.
Therefore, you do not have to be a rocket scientist to realize that with that line of code repeating in 2025, there is an exceptionally high probability that Donald Trump is going to win the next presidential election. Now, there's been a lot of stuff that goes around in terms of, will he be able to make it? What about other contestants? For example, I saw a tweet the other day from Elon Musk saying that he backs Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, to be the next president of the United States. And John, I've run Ron DeSantis's numbers, I've built his charts, I've actually put this out on Twitter. And for those people who are really interested to follow what my day-to-day research findings are and what I'm seeing, et cetera, they should really follow me on Twitter, because that's where I post this. And I post volumes of this, literally all day, every day. These kind of numbered data strings, and I explain what I'm seeing. I've just done an entire analysis on the upcoming heavyweight fight between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. And this is what I do. I use these kind of things in order to test and learn. But there it is, John. And when I ran Ron DeSantis's numbers, I can absolutely see him giving it a full go in 2023. It's there in his numbers. You can see that he's definitely going to put his hand up to try and be the next president, but it's not going to happen. That dog's not going to hunt. So it is very clear to me that if you're talking America and you're talking Republicans, when it comes to crunch time, there is only going to be one person who's going to be sitting in the presidential candidate seat, and that is Donald Trump. And the question is, will he win or not? And I am saying that there is an exceptionally high probability. In other words, I'm actually giving him more than an 85% chance of becoming the next president of the United States. And I'm going to explain to you why I say that. I'm going to do so using the numbers of his family. And I'm also then going to go later on, John, into the numbers of Joe Biden, of Kamala Harris, et cetera, and actually reveal that their numbers just do not stack up in any shape or form. So I cannot see the Democrats winning the next election, and with Trump in the hot seat, he would become president again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it is amazing. It's because I was there living in America when this came about last time, and through much of the Trump era, I was living in America, and it is an interesting time, because what you see is that America is very much divided. If you look at it around the friends that I have and the contacts I have out there, those who love him truly love it, and they see he can do no wrong, regardless of what happens. And on the other hand, he's hated by many, and families are effectively be broken down the middle, who won't speak to each other again because they're on opposing side of the camps. Normally, it's not really that cut and dried, but with him, he's very much about division energy, whether it's dividing his own people or whether it's dividing America versus the rest of the world, but it's kind of divide and conquer. And it's interesting to think that regardless of everything, he could well be back in, but I do understand there are many people out there who really, really still see him as a leader for America. So yeah, it's amazing given everything that's been going on in the courts, but nevertheless, the numbers are very much stacking up there, Chris. There's no arguing.
Well, John, you see, this is the first time I believe that real hard evidence is being brought into frame around what the future looks like. Because a lot of people say, yeah, but there's no way to look into the future. There's no way to tell the future. There's no way to predict the future. And I absolutely disagree with him. That is why I am so obsessed with building and developing this field of human futurology, because I'm actually sticking my neck out here and I'm saying that I really, truly believe that this is showing you in hard numbers that Donald Trump is going to be the next president of the United States of America. And the thing is, if you think about where America is right now, as of today, after Roe and Wade, then if you think about the war that is going to rage within the country up to the next election in terms of division, you now suddenly realize that that's why I say America is actually eating itself alive from the inside.